So there are three main frameworks of ethics, and those three main frameworks, every kind of ethical structure fits inside of those three main categories, and that's the deontological ethics. Then we have consequential ethics or consequentialism ethics, and then we have virtue ethics. And there's plenty of good models in all of these. In deontological ethics, we have on the religious side, I guess all religions fit into this, the idea of divine command, that something's ethical because some bigger a bigger party or God, creator, character has deemed that this is right and that this is wrong. Additionally, you have other ethics that fit in there, like conscience ethics, which is a secular ethics, but it still fits into the deontological ethics camp. And then consequentialism, probably the most well-known ethical model, is utilitarianism, that it focuses on the least amount of suffering or the maximum amount of happiness, that's the ultimate goal and aim of the ethical model. And then you have virtue ethics, which is less concerned with outcomes or with orders. It's more concerned with the character itself and the behaviors attributed to the character, that they act in a way that is virtuous of the character. Now, all three of these ethical frameworks have a bunch of different ethical models inside of them, and many of them claim this is what ethics is, this is what morality is. And the truth be told, all of them are wrong. They're all incorrect, because what is really creating morality is a propensity first. It doesn't start with a framework that is created by intelligence. It starts with a propensity, an internal compulsion. And this is something, while religious might say that God placed the propensity there, God placed the compulsory there, using scriptures like God has written it upon their hearts, or some other scriptures like this. And others would say, and in the scientific community would obviously say, that it is something that has evolved inside of us, that we first had kinship morality, and we had greenbeard effect and other things that have led us to this moral compulsory. Einstein said of it that ethics comes from your upbringing, the way that you were taught, and your social needs and ties. I think what we get with morality or ethics is everything starts as compulsory. There is an impulse for morality, and then you have your upbringing and what you're taught, don't do this and do this. Then that's another part of the framework. And then you get into your ethical models that finally finish it out. But I think of this as like a castle, so to speak, that is built here. And everybody acts as if their model is the total model, that this is what ethics and morality is. And the reason that it's wrong is because the beginning part, the base of all this castle, it is not a complete castle, so to speak. It is not a complete model or framework. But what is there, what we start with, that is all of our compulsories internalized. We have that as a desire. And then what we do is this incomplete castle. Let's say that castle finishes 60% of all of our moral guidance. Then we draw on to the rest of that. We draw the top of the castle and outline it a little better with our moral and ethical frameworks, whether that's a deontological framework or a virtue framework, or whether it's the causal framework, consequentialism. So we first start with an impulse, though. And to act as if that impulse is not the base and the foundation, it's just so ridiculous. And the reason that we can prove that it's so incorrect is you take people that have a disconnect in the brain functions. That is an evolved thing. It has evolved that way. The prefrontal cortex and the amygdala have a communication connection between them that allows these emotions, such as empathy and such as guilt, to be processed. And when we have people like genuine sociopaths that are diagnosed sociopathic, they have a disconnect or a problem in processing these emotions between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. And if you have someone that is a genuine sociopath and they have a connection issue with that, you can take whatever moral framework you want, it doesn't matter which one you pick, and you can try to put it onto that sociopathic individual and say, oh, well, this framework works great. I assure you there's no framework that's going to work great on that genuinely sociopathic individual, because it is not an issue of the framework. That is not the issue. The issue is the compulsory. They don't have a compulsory to act in a moral way. They don't have guilt and they don't have empathy, or they have a very difficult time processing this type of emotion and making it manifest. So this is something that is explained more as an internal driver and less so as an external framework. And there are some good external frameworks, don't get me wrong. I think that all of these frameworks can finish the rest of the castle, so to speak. You can draw out the rest of your moral framework, but make no mistake, what you start with is the impulse that is evolutionarily created, and it's there. And then you draw the rest of your order onto that and say, well, this is the rest of it. It's all thought out, whether you're using Kantian ethics or whether you're using utilitarianism or virtue ethics. All the rest of that, you have simply drawn the rest of a framework built upon what is already there, that is impulsory and is created and refined by the green beard effect and by this altruism evolution. Just wanted to get that out there because I keep hearing all these moral models that this is where morality comes from. No, it evolved.